Thank you for liberating this town.
American World War II veterans, heroes returning to a city in the Czech Republic.
It's a celebration of liberty and free, and I think it's a celebration of United States.
Honored and remembered for their service and sacrifice.
It humbles me. It humbles me.
Makes tears come to your eyes, really.
This is Return to Pilsen, an American story.
World War II veterans who helped liberate the city of Pilsen in the Czech Republic are invited back each year to be honored for their service in 1945. They celebrate freedom with the locals and they share stories. Fox 11's Mark Leland traveled to Pilsen in the Czech Republic and shows us how one veteran, originally from Madison, is allowing the Czech people to see what he experienced 68 years ago.
The images of World War II remain vivid in the minds of those who lived through it. The death, the destruction, and in the city of Pilsen, in what's now the Czech Republic, the celebration of being liberated. Stories have been passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, my grandfather, John Patton, I mean, he came in, in June after the city had been liberated. But the people are thrilled because they all think Patton did it. And Patton did it with 400,000 other great Americans.
I was one of the first veterans to come back.
Each year since 1990, some of those great Americans who helped to bring freedom to Pilsen have returned to take part in the city's annual Liberation Festival, to be honored and to share their stories with the people.
The 2nd Infantry Division traveled from the Belgium-German border, east, north, south. It was a zigzag journey. So
Earl Ingram was part of the 2nd Infantry Division, as was James Duncan. But as Duncan made his way to help free Pilsen, his most memorable shots were not with a gun, but a camera.
Starting in the little village of Domyslice, which was the largest village, first large village that was liberated in Czechoslovakia, I took just literally dozens of pictures. So I concentrated on taking pictures of people, because that's always the kind of pictures that one remembers and looks at later.
Duncan admits he was not a professional photographer, but he always loved capturing life on film, even as a child growing up in Madison, Wisconsin.
I used to ride my bicycle out to the Madison airport, to the Royal Airport in Madison, actually, in those days, which was on the southeast side, and take pictures of airplanes with my box camera.
And while most photographs end up in albums, Duncan decided during his 5th visit to Pilsen that these pictures needed to be seen by those in Pilsen today. So he made copies for the city, which put together a public display when Duncan returned for the 2013 Liberation Festival.
That it was my dream all these 68 years that somehow those pictures would be available for people to recognize themselves, hopefully, or their grandparents or their parents.
Duncan took these pictures in the spring of 1945. He says he got some of the film and cameras from German prisoners of war.
Literally stole it out of bombed out stores, bombed out houses, and in many cases by saying to captured German officers, "Hast du Fotoapparat?" Nein. But if they had photoapparat film, in other words, or cameras or whatever, they were very happy to turn it over to me.
The display shows just a fraction of the 332 pictures he took in 1945, but they did what he had hoped for, to bring back memories of those who recognized the sites and, more importantly, could pick out relatives. This woman identified her family, and there were others.
I was particularly thrilled, and perhaps one of the high points of my life, that I learned that a lady actually who was 6 years old at the time recognized not only herself but her younger brother in one of the pictures that I took.
Duncan knows he won't always be around to share his stories, but he's pleased what he saw and captured through a lens will live on. Reporting from Pilsen in the Czech Republic, Mark Leland, Fox 11 News.
Mark was invited to travel to Pilsen by Northeast Wisconsin businessman and veteran Bob Newski, so Fox 11 could showcase how that European city continues to celebrate our World War II veterans.